Yo, it's your boy Burnard, and welcome to the Angry Blerd podcast, where I'm going to be talking about everything nerdy that caught my eye this week. So, first things first, Happy New Year. Sorry, I did not record an episode last week before New Year's. That Friday I wasn't feeling good, and Saturday I was out of town, and I didn't get back till Sunday, and that was New Year's Eve, so I took the day off, so sue me. And it was a slow news week. There wasn't really much of anything at all. So it would have just been a review of the Doctor Who Christmas special, The Church on Ruby Road, and Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, which I will be getting to today, as well as episodes 3 and 4 of Percy Jackson. So let's get to some news. So I think this is one. So Insomniac. So a little bit more news of the leak came out, and they were apparently working on a Spider-Man multiplayer game, but that was canceled a long time ago. So it was supposed to be basically Spider-Man meets GTA Online. So I really feel like the only way that would have worked is if you're able to create your own Spider-Person. Otherwise, there's just going to be a bunch of Peters and Miles running around. So, I mean, if there were more details on it, then yeah, sure, if it's something like that. Because I would like to make my own Spider-Person. But, I mean, well, it is what it is. So, I mean, it's done. Sorry. No Spider-Man GTA. So, for those of you who have Nintendo Wii U's and 3DS's, I believe we told you a few months ago that they were planning to shut down the online play for those. They actually said that it wasn't going to shut down until April, but they're letting you know that, hey, it's going to happen a little bit sooner than later. And it said this may not impact every player just yet, but head online if you have a Wii U or a 3DS, which I don't think anyone has anymore, and see if you can get online. But yeah, I mean, that's what happens when a new system comes out and, games start to die down because no one's playing them. And speaking of things that no one's playing anymore, Naughty Dog actually released a statement today saying that they would be shutting down the online servers for Uncharted Online and The Last of Us Online. So those were the two multiplayers for their respective games. They've been it's been about 10 years for both. So yeah, those will be shutting down. I mean, I always played the Uncharted one. I didn't really do the Last of Us one, but the Uncharted one was fun. So I really wish they would have put that on the Nathan Drake collection, or at least on the what is it called? Let me look this up real quick. It's the the PS5 remasters. All right, I think it's called Thieves Legacy of Thieves Collection. I was close. But yeah, it would have been nice if they would have put that on there, but hey, it's shutting down, so it is what it is, unfortunately. So, while we're still in the realm of video game news, as of New Year's Day, the original design of Mickey Mouse via the Steamboat Willie design is now in the public domain. So Disney was trying to fight this for the longest, and the federal judge said, nah, it's been 100 years, so let the public have at them, and they have. So there's actually a video game that's giving a very Five Nights at Freddy's type of vibe. It was originally called Infestation 88, but they changed the name of the game due to 88, which was basically something related to Nazis. I believe it was a key code or something. I don't really know. But yeah, so this is a co-op horror experience that blends your nostalgia with horror in the vein of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. So I'm actually going to see if I can find the title, the new title for the game. I saw it earlier and I wish I saved it, but I did not.
5 minutes later.
I cannot find it. But yeah. It's also rumored that the Switch 2 will be arriving sometime this year with a price range of $200. I might get it. Don't know yet. I mean, I don't really play my Switch as it is. I mean, I've been playing a little bit more due to Super Mario Brothers Wonder. Haven't beat it yet, but whenever that comes out, whenever I'm done with that, that's when it'll probably start collecting dust again. The Metal Gear Solid 3 remake apparently has a release window of 2024. Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. So the two Konami games. Apparently there is a Xbox Series S toaster. I'm just like, why is this a thing? But people are going to buy it, and when they do, they're going to sell it like in 5 years. And, probably make 3 times more of their money. But hey, when they do, they do. Cool. So, Warner Brothers has decided to partner with an AI company called Futureverse to make the world of Ready Player One a real thing. So it will be called the definitive destination for fans to explore their favorite stories and IP in the metaverse. So I was actually talking to my boy Jared about this, and I don't think this is really going to go anywhere because the VR thing is a fad. I mean, we saw that the PlayStation VR2 didn't sell nothing. That could have been because of the price range, or people just are over VR. It'll be back in like 5 years. The same thing with like 30 movies. Like they tried to make Aquaman in the Lost Kingdom the movie to bring back 30 movies, and it clearly didn't work because the movie bombed like hell. But I don't know how I would feel about that. The only way I would actually get involved with, going into metaverse, it has to be like Ready Player One. So I want a full body suit. Okay. I don't want I just don't want a headset with a long wire because I have a PlayStation VR and I haven't touched it in about a year and a half, but that was mainly because I was in a car accident and my back was fucked up and my wrist.
I broke my back.
So I don't know if y'all remember that, but your boy had on splints. I think that's pretty much all the video game news. So let's get into a little bit of film and television news. So can we just admit that Scream 7 is dead at this point? Because Christopher Landon, the director of Scream 7, has exited the film. And he said, "This will disappoint some and delight others. It was a dream job that turned into a nightmare, and my heart did break for everyone involved." So I don't know the details of why he left. They weren't necessarily given. So I don't know if it's because of, the Melissa Barrera getting fired and Gina Ortega's Wednesday scheduling conflict. But at this point, just let the franchise cool off and come back in like 3 or 4 years. That's just my opinion. But hey, I don't work in Hollywood, so I know they're going to go ahead and just keep on, like, keeping on. And people are going to boycott the movie because you fired Melissa Barrera for speaking up and having an opinion on things. All right. Jeremy Renner. He is ready to get back to work after his accident that happened about a year ago. So I don't know if you guys recall, but around the holiday season of 2021, Jeremy Renner was in a horrific snowplow accident where he saved his nephew, I believe. So yeah, he got ran over by a snowplow and basically like had to get surgery on his leg. I believe both his arms as well. I think he broke his nose. But yeah, he's doing better now. There were a few pictures like going around the internet with him walking with the cane and everything, but that was part of his rehabilitation. But he said, "Yo, I am ready to get to work on Mayor Kingstown season 3. I want to say, I don't know. I really need to give that show a shot. I still think it's a little bit cheesy that after the accident, when the season was getting ready to drop, Paramount decided to remove the bruises from his character's poster. It's like he gets in a lot of fights, from what I've been told. So, Carrie Bernans, who is a stunt performer in The Color Purple, and she has done stunt work in Black Panther. And basically, the MCU, I believe she's Letitia Wright's stunt double. We got to wish her a speedy recovery. As of 3 days ago, at the time of this recording, she was in a hit and run accident when she was struck by a car on New Year's Day. It was her and I believe 9 other people. So let's just really wish them a speedy recovery and, give them all the well wishes and whatnot. So, Steven Yeun, we all know as Glenn from The Walking Dead, or Mark, aka Invincible on Invincible, was rumored to be playing the Sentry in the upcoming Thunderbolts film. Well, that rumor ain't a rumor no more because it don't matter because he left the movie. And he said it was due to scheduling conflicts, and that was mainly due to the writer's strike and the actor's strike. So it's like he can't just sit around and just wait for things to get done. He's got other commitments, so it's just like, you snooze, you lose. Unfortunately, we do have to give a rest in peace to Bryan Ansell. He was one of the architects on the Warhammer franchise and helped turn Games Workshop into the company that it is today. I don't believe a cause of death was given, but he did pass away at the end of December. He was 68 years old. Another one, unfortunately, Tom Wilkinson. He was in Batman Begins, Michael Clayton, The Full Monty, and a majority of us may know him from Rush Hour. He played Juntao in that. And he passed away at the age of 75. So we definitely have to give a rest in peace to those 2 individuals. All right. So this was something that made me so excited. Christopher Nolan was actually on a peloton class, and the instructor was very upset at the movie Tenet. And I'm going to see if I can add the soundbite here. And she's literally giving a lesson, and she's shitting on Tenet. I mean, I don't think anybody liked Tenet. The movie was just not good. And I might be a little bit biased because I ain't really a fan of Christopher Nolan. And I stand 10 toes down on that. It's like, yo, bro, you ruined Batman. It's like, come on, man. All right, let's see if we can get this going. All right, guys, you ready? All right, here we go.
This song is from the soundtrack of a movie called Tenet. Anybody see this shit? Did anybody see this besides me? Because I need a manual. Someone's got to explain this. Yeah, I'm not kidding. What the fuck was going on in that movie? Do you understand? Seriously, you need to be a neuroscientist to understand. And that's 2.5 hours of my life that I want back. I want it back.
So, I don't know who all saw Tenet. I didn't watch it just based off of the trailer.
It stinks.
Only thing I know about this movie is it ended his relationship with Warner Brothers because they released it on Max, and he was like, no, my movies go to the theaters. They're not made directly. They go to streaming. And that's when he decided to go do Oppenheimer with Universal. But that same Peloton instructor did see, I believe he was doing an interview with Entertainment Weekly, and she saw it, and she was like, hey, yeah, fucking hated Tenet, but I loved Oppenheimer. So, I mean.
Huge day for me when I come to find out that the one and only Christopher Nolan, one of the leading filmmakers of the 21st century, knows who the hell I am. I was excited. And then I read the article. Listen, it was 2020. It was a dark time. I'm up on the platform teaching my little class, and I'm running my mouth off like I'm known to do, and I make a random comment about a movie I had seen the night before. What do you think the odds are that the director of said movie would take that ride some 4 years later. Yeah, that would only happen to me. So here's what I want to say. I may not have understood a minute of what the hell was going on in Tenet. That shit went right over my head, but I have seen Oppenheimer twice, and that's 6 hours of my life that I don't ever want to give back. So Mr. Nolan, I'm inviting you to come take a ride with me in the Peloton studio. You can critique my class. We'll have a great time. You'll sit in the front row, and I promise you, it'll be insult-free. Let me know. Take me up on it.
Maybe, he'll put her in something. Maybe not. Who knows? Who cares, really? All right. John Williams is a conductor who's done music for a lot of movies that we know and love. So Star Wars, Superman, Indiana Jones. I'm going to pull up his, is it called a filmography if you're a musician? Discography. I have no idea why I just had that brain fart. So yeah, he's an American composer and conductor. I honestly thought he was British. He did Schindler's List, Home Alone, E.T. Hold on. Is it in his discography or would it just be in oh, here we go. He did music for the Jane Eyre film in the 70s. Let's go to the 80s because I don't think anybody listening to this podcast was born in the 70s. So, he did the soundtrack for Jaws. Yes, that was the 70s. I know what I just said. Loco, shut up. All right, so Jaws, Star Wars, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Jaws 2, Superman, Empire, Raiders, E.T., Jedi, Temple of Doom, a movie called Space Camp, Empire of the Sun, The Last Crusade, Home Alone, Hook, JFK, Home Alone 2, Jurassic Park, Schindler's List, Rosewood, Sleepers, The Lost World, 7 Years in Tibet, Amistad, Saving Private Ryan, so on and so forth. So this man said he was going to retire. Then he said, nope, backtrack. He said, if a film came along that I was greatly interested in, with a schedule that I could cope with, I wouldn't want to rule anything out. Everything is possible. Only our limitations are holding us back, which is very true. I mean, I always say, if you still feel like you can do the job, do the job. I mean, no one's forcing him to retire. It's not like he works at Best Buy or anything. He's a composer. He's 91. He writes the music and he conducts it. So, John, keep doing your thing because your scores are amazing. I might go listen to the Superman one later on tonight, although I'm recording this at about 1 o'clock in the morning, so I'll probably listen to it to help me go to sleep. Dun, 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 dun. All right. So, Gerard Butler is actually going to be in the live-action How to Train Your Dragon. So, he will be reprising the role of his character Stoic, who is Hiccup's father. So, I mean, that's good for him. I mean, I honestly don't know the last Gerard Butler movie I saw. I'm not really a big fan of his. I know it wasn't 300. I know I saw some stuff after 300. But, I mean, it might be all right. And so Colman Doming, who's actually in The Color Purple, there have been a lot of rumors swirling around that he will be playing Kang since the firing of Johnathan Majors. But he said, I know there's talks and conversations around, but I don't know how much of it is true. So, I mean, maybe they are talking to his agent, but he don't know nothing. He could be lying. Who knows? But only thing I know is this. Johnathan Majors will be doing an interview with Good Morning America on Monday. So if you guys are listening to this on Sunday, set your DVR or just wait for the YouTube clips because people don't know how to take in long form content anymore. Like I saw somebody say, who's going to sit down and watch a 2-hour interview? It's a podcast, my dude. You can listen to it. All right. America Ferrera is actually joining season 3 of What If. She will be playing Ranger Morales. There isn't really much to say besides, I mean, I guess she's a park ranger, so congratulations to her. What else has happened? Honestly, I don't know. We're getting all of Echo soon. I believe that's coming out on Tuesday. Some bad news for you TV fans of American-born Chinese. It was canceled by Disney. And I think the reason they canceled it is because they did lack of promotion, so nobody watched it. It's like, seriously, I think they only had like one trailer for that dropped during like the NBA finals of 2023, I want to say. I don't remember. But yeah, that's the only time I ever recall seeing any type of advertisement whatsoever. And like one trailer on like the Disney Plus Instagram and basically all their social media pages. I'm just like, man, y'all need to stop, bro. It's like, come on now. Get it together. And I think the issue is they don't know how to advertise things with characters of color, because same thing happened with Strange World. Elemental, like a majority of the cast was black actors who were unknown. It's like advertise the same way you do everything else. It's like, I think like the last thing they actually advertised the shit out of that had a person who wasn't white may have been Encanto. And even then, that went straight to Disney Plus because it was a pandemic movie. So yeah, it's just like y'all just cut the corners on the advertising sometimes. So I'm just like, you can't complain about stuff and but oh, you know, we're losing money on this. All right. So the guy who decided to come back to wrestling after pretty much abandoning it for Hollywood. Yes, I'm talking about Dwayne Douglas Johnson, aka The Rock, has decided in his 20 plus years of acting that, you know, he wants to take on more dramatic roles. Is it because your action movies aren't really making as much money as they were before? If you feel like you got the range, Dwayne, go for it. I mean, I'm still rooting for you, although Black Adam sucked. God damn. So he said, I'm at the point in my career where I want to push myself in ways I have not pushed myself in the past. So somebody throwing shade, like one of the first comments I saw was, first step is probably not making 20 different movies where you're the exact same character. God damn. So, I mean, go for it. That's all I can say is go for it. You fail, you fail. You win, you win. But it is what it is. All right. So, why is it that executives decide to say that, oh, you know, the Netflix Daredevil show is canon, but we still can't get confirmation that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is canon? So that was the word of one executive producer from the MCU. Keep in mind, if you go back and watch Daredevil, they literally referenced the Battle of New York in the first episode. So at that point, it's canon. I say everything that's live action that is a Marvel TV show, including Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Inhumans, it's canon. And unfortunately, that also includes Iron Fist, because that show sucked. Shout out to Finn Jones for not showing up to fight choreography. This bitch! Bastard. They bring that show back. Don't bring him back. That's all I got to say about that. All right. So, I think I'm going to get into my reviews because I have to review Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, What If Season 2, the Doctor Who Christmas special, like I said earlier, and 2 episodes of Percy Jackson. All right, so guys, if you haven't watched any of that, I highly suggest you turn off the podcast now. So we're going to start with the oldest stuff first. So that leads us to Aquaman and the First Kingdom. So I said Aquaman and the First Kingdom. I meant Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. So directed by James Wan. And the screenplay was written by David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick. This person has also wrote Orphan, The Conjuring 2, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, and the original Aquaman, it looks like. Oh, yeah, Aquaman and also a few episodes of The Walking Dead. So, this movie wasn't good. That's all I can really say. I mean, there were good parts of it. There were people who were obviously putting in more effort for the film as opposed to, certain Samoan individuals who just seemed like they just showed up wearing whatever. Because Jason Momoa Arthur was literally wearing what Jason Momoa wears on a regular basis, like the extra baggy clothes, all the rings and crap. It's just like, it seemed like the only two people who really gave this movie their all were Patrick Wilson, who played Ocean Master, aka Orm. We all know him from Watchmen, is playing Owlman, and Yahya Abdul-Mateen, who plays Black Manta. So we already knew Amber Heard's role was going to be quote unquote pared down. James Wan said that was already going to be the court case with Johnny Depp didn't affect that at all. So that was already going to happen regardless of the fact. So this movie was actually about two brothers basically getting to know each other. And I like the fact that the trailer decided to throw you a curveball, because you would think like the beginning of the movie is, Ocean Master finds this dark trident, decides to get payback on Aquaman, takes his baby, he gets his brother to help him. No, it's slightly different. So some of that still happened in the same sequential order that I just said. So Ocean Master did get the Dark Trident, which was actually originally belonging to Arthur's grandfather, great uncle, granduncle, I guess. His grandfather's brother. So I guess that would be granduncle, because that's what I am. But he's also mining for a mineral that was used in Atlantis called orichalcum. Like 3 people said it 3 different ways. Some people said orichalcum. I don't know. I was just like, how are we saying this? It's the whole tomato situation. It's like, yo, can we get somebody to just say it one way and keep it on point? So they're harvesting that from like Atlantean mines, but at the same time, you're also finding out that Aquaman's greatest enemy is around, and that is climate change. So there's actually the seas are somehow being poisoned, and this is how they also explain Willem Dafoe's character Volko not being in the film. He died from whatever poisoning is happening to the oceans. So they take the orichalcum from a vault near Atlantis, and chaos ensues, and that's basically how Mara gets cut out the movie. She gets severely fucked up, and after that, it's like, we don't know how to find Black Manta, but who can help find him? Your brother. They did work together to try to kill you once upon a time. So Aquaman, goes to the prison that his brother's in, which is basically like it's in the land of the fishermen, I believe. And they're basically like sea surface dwellers who can live in the ocean, but they prefer the land. So he's basically on land, completely dried out. They give him just a little bit of water just to keep him alive. And so yeah, that's where Aquaman comes in with the stealth suit and everything. And basically these two are trying to get to know each other, and they track down Black Manta on a volcano where he's basically mining the orichalcum to melt it down to fuel these ancient Atlantean ships that he's found. And the orichalcum isn't just poisoning the ocean, it's literally poisoning the entire ecosystem of the island. So you got giant grasshoppers, giant roaches, and whatnot. And Arthur decides to be a dick because Orm has never been on the surface, has his brother eat a big ass cockroach. I mean, about the size of this external hard drive. He's like, yeah, bro, you got to get a cheeseburger, bro. How you going to hate on the surface world and you never enjoyed it? But I'm just like Jason Momoa just phoning in, and I said it like when Batman v Superman. I told y'all, I said this to Jason Momoa's face. I hope you aren't Aquaman. No offense to you, but you just don't fit the role, and this movie definitely confirmed it. So yeah, throw this whole movie away. I'm done talking about this movie. It gets a 2 out of 10 from me. All right. Good grief. I mean, I ain't really got nothing positive to say besides like Patrick Wilson was kind of funny. Like he did the Sonic run. I refuse to call it the Naruto run because Sonic did it first. So running with your arms behind your back. All right. So I am going to talk about Doctor Who now. Our Christmas special, The Church on Ruby Road. Written by Russell T Davies, directed by Mark Tonderai. So this is the Christmas special. We haven't had a Christmas special since 2017. So this episode, we actually get our introduction to Ncuti Gatwa, aka the 15th Doctor's new companion, Ruby Sunday. And it starts off with her explaining her backstory to Davina McCall, who is basically the Ryan Seacrest of the UK. So she is a television presenter. She's a radio host. She has a show where she helps like find your lineage. I can't remember the name of the show that we have over here, and it comes on PBS. Everybody know what I'm talking about though. It's the black guy. He interviews, like he did one with like Pharrell or whatever. So she's telling her, I was an orphan. I got left on a church on Ruby Road. Hence the reason why my name is Ruby. And, my birthday is Christmas Eve. And while this interview is going on, things start happening behind the scenes. So a little hand like moves like one of the producer's cups of coffee, like unplugs something and basically like causes like a light to fall, and Davina gets hit in the head with a plug. And just basically bad luck starts to follow Ruby throughout the entire segment. So at first, I really thought I wasn't going to like this episode, primarily because of the teasers. It's just like, why is the Doctor dancing in a club? But the reason why the Doctor is dancing in the club is because Ruby's there. So the Doctor has kind of been keeping an eye on Ruby, and trying to follow whatever's causing her to have bad luck. So she actually performs at a club with her friends, and the power goes dead in all their equipment. So he's there watching that. He's in the club because she's there. And she gets in the car with her friends while whatever's causing the bad luck is about to make a giant snowman standee fall on the car that they're in. And the Doctor whips out his sonic screwdriver, manipulates the light to turn green. The giant snowman head falls on him, and he basically tells the lady to get out the way because he thinks she's walking a baby because she has a stroller. But her groceries are in the stroller. I mean, the gifts she's buying for Christmas are in the stroller. So it's like, what the hell? Who puts Christmas gifts in a stroller? So a cop comes over, asks the Doctor for his information. The Doctor's sonic screwdriver goes off. The Doctor tells him, hey, your girl's going to say yes. And he's like, what are you talking about? He's like, so this thing here, this is a sonic screwdriver. That little ping, it went off. So it sends the diamond that's probably in your pocket, and your girl's going to say yes. And he's like, how do you know? It's like, for starters, you're going to propose on Christmas because it's kind of cliche if you're marrying a woman. And 2, you didn't wait for the sales to start. So that's why she loves you. So we get back to Ruby, and we see that Ruby's mother, Carla, is adopting another child, and Ruby lives with her mother Carla and her grandmother Cherry Sunday, the Sunday family. So they get a new baby named Lulubelle, which is a very horrible name according to both Carla and Ruby. And the goblins come and take the baby as soon as Carla goes to the store. So Ruby gets on the roof, starts to chase them down. She jumps on the ladder that leads to their ship, and you see the doctor chasing after them. Like, yo, why the hell would you do this? And so on and so forth. He gets on the gloves. He gets on the gloves. He jumps to the ladder, introduces himself properly, gives Ruby a glove, says, hey, these are Mavity gloves. Because, yes, Mavity is still a thing from the Wild Blue Yonder special where Donna decided to fuck up the word gravity for everyone in history. And so basically the gloves can do two things. They can either make you super light or make you super heavy. So they get up to the goblin ship. The goblins tie them up. The doctor learns the language of rope because these goblins, they are basically pirates. So they don't have any technology on their ship. So he's trying to figure out what rope opens the main door to the hatch. So they go through the hatch. We get a nice musical number. So if you guys haven't heard it, listen to the Goblin song from this episode. It's actually a pretty good banger. They get the baby back, and there's a bunch of coincidences happening because apparently the goblins, they like coincidence. It makes you more savory. So they like coincidences and bad luck. And Ruby's mom comes back, and she didn't meet the doctor when he left because she was already gone, and Ruby officially met him on a freaking pirate goblin ship. So you're talking about all these coincidences because you find the doctor reveals that he's also adopted. As if you want more details on that, you can go watch the Jodie Whittaker Flux specials if you want to. So basically, you also find out that just a bunch of coincidences, and Carla has adopted 33 kids or fostered them. She's fostered 33 kids, but only adopted Ruby. So since Ruby has been having all this bad luck and also like a pivotal point of coincidences, they go back in time to take her as a baby. So then the doctor has to go back in time. So when she was dropped off at the church on Ruby Road and save her. And then she starts putting two and two together because when they were tied up on the ship, the doctor referenced spending a hot summer with Harry Houdini. So he learned how to undo knots and everything. And she runs outside, hops in the TARDIS. And now I got to wait until spring of this year for more Doctor Who, which is just ridiculous. All right. So now we're going to do What If Season 2. So if you guys... come on, you really got to watch What If Season 2. So I was listening to a podcast, and shout out to the Ringerverse. They basically said like some of these episodes were Die Hard, some were Blade Runner. So, and after listening to them, I get that. Episode 1, What If Nebula Joined the Nova Corps? A lot of people came back to reprise their roles for the respective characters. Kieran Gillian's in here as Nebula. Jude Law's in here as Yanrog. Michael Rooker's in here as Yondu. Howard the Duck is in here. Seth Green is in here as Howard the Duck. Taika Waititi is in here as Korg. But yeah, so this one's actually pretty good. So this is basically like a cop thriller. So like I said in the title, what if Nebula joined the Nova Corps? So Nebula is working for the Nova Corps, and because Ronan, the accuser, killed Thanos, and he was coming to enact revenge on Xandar. I don't know why I can't speak. Probably because I have cotton mouth. But they put the whole planet of Xandar in a bubble, and 5 years later, Nebula finds Yondu's body and receives order from Nova Prime to investigate. She learned that Yondu located the codes to open the shield. And Nebula breaks Yanrog out of prison so they can destroy the mainframe. But Yanrog betrayed her. And you find out that Nova Prime, after being in a bubble for 5 years, just kind of went a little bit wonky in the head and decided to give the codes to Ronan. So a lot of Nova Corps corruption in here. So Nebula nearly gets killed. So then she basically makes her own team of Guardians that is Howard the Duck, Groot, Meek, and Korg to stop Nova Prime. But yeah, so one of the things that Nebula did was she changed the code before Yeun betrayed her. So it basically opened the shield just enough for Ronan to think he could get in, and then closed it and killed him. Nova Prime died, and Nebula reopened the shield because now Xandar is safe. Good episode. So this one for me, I give this one about an 8. Just because I felt like Groot and the others, they really didn't get any screen time at all. And like Michael Rooker had like all of 2 lines. But the next one, what if Peter Quill attacked Earth's mightiest heroes? So this one is a what if of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, basically, where what if Yondu decided to hand over Peter to Ego? So Peter comes back to Earth and basically starts to go nuts. And keep in mind, this takes place in the 80s. So this is the beginning of S.H.I.E.L.D. or what was it called? Project Pegasus, I believe. Yes, Project Pegasus. So it's Peggy Carter and Howard Stark. They bring in Bill Foster, King T'Chaka, the Winter Soldier, Bucky Barnes, Wendy Larson, and Hank Pym. Hank reluctantly joins, and he brings Hope along. And they fight Peter on Coney Island. And Thor shows up and basically kind of saves the day by knocking out a young Peter Quill. And Thor gives them the whole details on what happened with Ego, because he has destroyed pretty much a good majority of the universe. So Asgard is gone. And Hope finds Peter in the same containment field that they built for Loki in the first Avengers film. And her and Peter start to talk, and he's like, yo, my mom's possibly not here anymore. And she's like, you're an alien. She's like, I'm not an alien. I'm from Oklahoma. And Hope breaks him out, basically, gives him her Walkman, and he gets on a bus to go back to, I'm sorry, not Oklahoma, Missouri. And Ego comes down to Earth because he's like, yo, Peter didn't activate the seed yet. And starts to fuck shit up. So T'Chaka, Bill Foster, and Thor are fighting Ego, while Wendy Marvel, I'm gonna just call her Marvel because that's who she is. She's Marvel. Marvel and Pym try to find Peter, and they find him in, try to bring him in to help fight Ego. Meanwhile, Russia is giving the Winter Soldier orders to, kill this kid. And Howard realizes that the Winter Soldier is Bucky, Howard, and Peggy. And Howard takes over the comms. It's like, look, we know you, okay? Steve wouldn't want you to do this. So basically, long story short, heroes save the day, fuck up Ego. And Peter Quill hits him with like a Yu Yu Hakusho blast. So Michael Douglas returned as Hank Pym, Haley Atwell as Peggy Carter, John Slattery as Howard Stark, Kurt Russell as Ego, Hemsworth came back as Thor, Lawrence Fishburne as Bill Foster, and Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes. So this episode was one of the best ones for me. And I got to give this one a 10 out of 10. So what if Happy Hogan saved Christmas? So Jon Favreau came back as Happy. Kat Dennings came back as Darcy. Kobe Smulders came back as Maria Hill. Sam Rockwell came back as Justin Hammer. Mark Ruffalo came back as Bruce Banner. Chris Hemsworth as Thor. Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye. And so this one is basically Die Hard. And this one was good as well. Justin Hammer basically breaks into the Avengers Tower with some Russians to steal the Hulk's blood to turn into a Hulk. And Happy accidentally injects himself and he becomes a Hulk. And Hammer corrupts all of Tony systems due to the fact that Jarvis is down for a reboot. And steals a Hulkbuster armor, so is Happy Hulk Hogan versus Justin Hammer in the Hulkbuster armor till the Avengers show up, because the Avengers are out doing their Christmas shopping and doing charity work. That one, hilarious. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Don't really have any bad things to say. Just wish Kat Dennings was in it a little bit more. So that one really is a 9 out of 10 for me. So what if Iron Man crashed into the Grandmaster? This one, like, bro, so 9 episodes of this season. I want to say like 2 of them are 10s. About 3 of them are 10s for me. So what if Iron Man crashes to the Grandmaster is basically like, what if Tony Stark didn't fall back out of the wormhole when he, blew up the Chitauri ship in Avengers? So in this version, he ends up in Sakaar instead. Oh, Jeff Goldblum, Tessa Thompson, Taika Waititi, Rachel House, and Josh Brolin all return as the Grandmaster, Valkyrie, Korg, and Topaz and Thanos, respectively. So yeah, he ends up on Sakaar instead of the Hope. And basically, this one is Mad Max or Death Race, because the only way Tony Stark is going to get out of this is he has to beat the Grandmaster in a race. If he wins, the people of Sakaar are free and he gets to go home. If he loses, he basically has to stay and be the Grandmaster's bitch. Very awesome episode. Tony Stark built a new armor. And this one also changes into a car. So when his car actually blew up, he used the armor to turn it into basically a F1 car. So this one was a 10 out of 10 for me. What if Captain Carter fought the Hydra Stomper? This is episode 5. So Sam Jackson is back as Nick Fury. Haley Atwell is in this episode as Captain Carter. Frank Grillo returns as Brock Rumlow. Sebastian Stan is in here as Bucky. Rochelle Wise returns to perform her voice as Melina Vostokov from Black Widow. And Elizabeth Olsen is in here as Wanda Merlin. So basically, this one is Captain America, the Winter Soldier, but with a plot twist. So instead of Bucky Barnes ever becoming the Winter Soldier, Bucky becomes a senator. Is it a senator? I believe he is a senator. Yeah. So Bucky becomes a senator. And this one actually picks up where the end of Peggy's last episode in season 1 of What If. Season 1 of What If takes place, where she finds the Hydra Stomper and Steve's in it. And Steve was actually being controlled by the Red Room. So Black Widow and Peggy Carter take the fight to the Red Room. They fight Natasha's mother and a couple other widows in this makeshift 50s town after Steve and the Hydra Stomper tries to kill Bucky and fails. But Steve sacrifices himself to take down the Red Room and keep Peggy and Natasha safe. And while Peggy's saying after, all this, she's going to take a break, she gets sucked into a different universe. This one, 10 out of 10. The beats were there emotionally. I know a lot of people are complaining that these 30-minute episodes, but come on, man. It's like, it's a nice, decent run. So this one was a 10 out of 10 for me. So all right, episode 6. Now this one is called What If Kahori Reshaped the World? So with this one, it's basically, what if when Surtur destroyed Ragnarok, the Tesseract crashed in pre-colonial America with the Iroquois. So over time, people have been disappearing, interacting with the Tesseract because it crash lands in a lake that is now known as the Forbidden Lake. So in the 15th century, 2 Mohawk siblings, Kahori and Wata, are hunted by Spanish conquistadors who are basically taking over the village looking for the Fountain of Youth. while inside the cave, Kahori is shot and she falls into the lake, and she ends up getting trapped in another dimension and is healed by the other Mohawk people who have mysteriously disappeared over the time. And there's a villager named Atarax who explained that the missing tribes people were teleported to the sky world, where they would gain powers and immortality, and they were unable to return home. So after time, Kahori's having a little bit of fun with her new powers and whatnot. She realizes, like, yo, I left my brother there to be murked by these conquistadors, and she's trying to get back. But the portal's like up in the air, and she can't really get there because she can't fly. So she's trying to use like telekinesis to move twigs so she can climb up, and it's not really working, and she just like loses it, and she's like, no, y'all decided to sit here and have fun. Our people need help. And she pulls the portal down. She's like, look, y'all can come with me or you can stay and be cowards. So she basically took on an entire legion of conquistador soldiers, and everybody else said, you know what, she's right. So they all came, fucked up the rest of the conquistadors. They killed the captain. Then they went to go see Queen Isabella and fucked her up. And then Supreme Strange showed up and basically said, hey, Kahori, how you doing? Need your help. This one was like 11 out of 10. So this one was like the best episode of the season. All right, episode 7. You know what? The whole season is good. It's like the first 2 episodes were kind of and it like started to pick up after that. Like, here's one. What if Hela found the 10 rings? So this one is basically kind of like a what if of Thor. So Kate Blanchett came back as Hela. Idris Elba came back as Heimdall. And that's it, really. So, with this one, Hela and Hela and Odin get into it. So he strips her of her power and basically does the whole thing with, whoever. Oh, he destroys Mjolnir, by the way. So in this one, he says, whoever so worthy, whoever holds his helmet, because it's Hela's headpiece, should they be worthy, shall possess the power of Hela. And when Wu actually comes across the Hela's helmet, while Hela shows up to Earth trying to get her helmet, basically does a beat for beat with the Thor scene, beats up a few people, but she also gets her ass whooped because then she realizes she's mortal. When Wu tries to whine her and dine her, Hela ain't having it. She knocks Wen Wu out, escapes, and we come across Maurice, our little alien magical being with no face, just 2 asses and wings from Shang-Chi. He leads her to TLOU, where, she convinces Jia-Li to join her. And after training with Jia-Li for a few days, Hela realizes that she doesn't really want to fight Odin and become queen. She just wants to be free. And Heimdall can no longer see Hela, so he tells Odin, and Odin goes down and starts shit with Wen Wu to take the 10 rings. So Hela kind of sees the Rainbow Bridge forming in the distance, and she tells Jia-Li, yo, I need to go fight my father. And Jia-Li's like, yo, we can't help you. We're not warriors. We're just defenders. And she's like, fine, whatever. Takes the dragon scale armor that, everybody had in Shang-Chi, a couple weapons, goes back, teams up with Wen Wu, fucks Odin up. She becomes worthy of the helm. And basically the cause now is to create peace and ensure freedom within the 9 realms. And the end of this episode is Thanos going to a young Gamora, about to terrorize her world. The Rainbow Bridge comes down. Hela with an all-white suit. Wen Wu with the 10 rings. Odin on his horse. And that big-ass dog that Hela had coming to fuck him up. Good episode. I loved it. 10 out of 10. All right. What if the Avengers assembled in 1602? I hate period pieces. So this is where Peggy ends up in this episode when Wanda Merlin comes and gets her, because basically they're suffering from incursions due to something called a forerunner, which is basically a time displaced individual. So we got Sam Jackson back as Nick Fury, Haley Atwell as Captain Carter, Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda Merlin, Chris Hemsworth as Thor, Tom Hiddleston's in this episode, Mark Ruffalo, Jon Favreau, Paul Rudd, Sebastian Stan, Benedict Cumberbatch. So in this episode, Hela is Queen, and she has a nice sibling relationship with her brothers Thor and Loki. Thor's basically doing a play, and Loki is about to die, but Peggy saves Loki, but she fails to save Hela, and Thor's like, "Oh, this is all your fault. We got to kill you or whatever." So basically, Peggy has to go on the run, and because she is now being hunted by Sir Harold the Happy Hogan under King Thor's orders. So basically, Peggy finds the Tony Stark of this world who can make it a device to identify the Forerunner using the Time Stone that's in Thor's scepter. So basically, they find some outlaws, Steve Rogers, Bucky Barnes, Scott Lang. They find out that Steve himself is the Forerunner, and he has to go back to where he to the universe that he came from, which is basically like a universe that is the final fight of Infinity War, where him and Thanos are going toe to toe, but he hit the Time Stone and got displaced. Supreme Strange shows up at the end of this episode, says, "Oh, he'll take Peggy home because the Watcher obviously can't interact with him, and he can only watch." So he's like, "I'll take you home, but I need your help first." So they go back to his Sanctum Infinitum, where he reveals that he's been capturing universe killers to atone for his sins. So Haley Atwell is back as Captain Carter. Benedict Cumberbatch is Strange, and Stanley Tucci appears as Abraham Erskine. So yeah, he's been been capturing universe killers to atone for the sins of trying to bring back his universe and basically destroying it. So he asks Peggy to help him capture a variant who fled using the Tesseract to destroy the world. Peggy agrees, and they come across Kahori, and at this point Kahori can actually speak English, and she tells Peggy that Strange was lying this whole time. So he's just basically capturing anybody he can to feed his forge, which is basically going to rebuild his lost universe. So Strange shows up. They all fight. Killmonger shows up in the same episode from What If with the armor that Ultron had. They take the armor from him. They fight Strange. And basically all the variants that he captured, they all are getting ready to fall into the forge because Kahori's trying to teleport them home, but Strange keeps stopping her. And so they all give Peggy and Kahori their weapons. So like Thor's hammer, Hela's helmet, just like Yondu's arrow, so on and so forth. They take out Strange Supreme Strange. He falls into the forge, but he brings back his universe minus him in it. And the Watcher takes her back home. And that episode was a very good one. So, like I said, overall, the series was good. You got a few dud episodes, like the 1602 one was kind of mid. The What If Nebula Joined the Nova Corps was alright. Like I said, that one, I think I said I gave it an 8. I don't remember. I didn't rank these down. The Peter Quill one. But yeah, like I said, it started to really pick up towards like episode 4. But yeah, guys, check out What If on Disney Plus. I believe we're getting one more season. They actually posted a teaser for season 3, and it looked like it was Bucky and Ant-Man on a road trip. So we'll be getting it very, very soon. All right. So now let's get into episodes 3 and 4 of Percy Jackson and the Olympians. So episode 3, we visit the Garden Gnome Emporium. So Percy got a prophecy from the Oracle that confirms that the Master Boat is with Hades in the underworld beneath LA. And Sharon asks Percy what other two campers will accompany him on his quest. So Percy chose Annabeth and Grover. And Percy also got a winged pair of shoes from Luke. So as they're getting ready to go across the country on a bus, they are attacked by a harpy. And that bus trip gets cut short. They manage to escape and they bump into Medusa, and she tries to convince Percy that she's not a monster, but rather a victim of the gods. And she asks Percy to betray his friends in order to help save his mom. Percy like, nah, but Percy does know that somebody will betray him in the group, and he chose like someone he knows for a fact who would do it and someone who could possibly do it. So they work together. Annabeth uses her hat of invisibility to put on Medusa so they can actually turn her direction, and Percy chops off her head, and they ship Medusa's head to the gods, which is kind of messed up if you really think about it. It's like, yo, yeah, we did that. We killed your little flunky. So episode 4, I plunged to my death. Percy, Annabeth, and Grover are on a train now. So they actually get not necessarily harassed, but interrogated by a cop because their cabin is destroyed. And you find out that the cabin was actually destroyed by Echidna, who is in Greek mythology is a woman who is half snake who lived alone in a cave, but she is training a young chimera at the moment, and this chimera poisons Percy, and the train actually stops in St. Louis, and Annabeth says we need to go to the Golden Arch because it's a monument to Athena, and Percy actually gets poisoned, so they decide to go to the top of the arch to ask for help for Athena, but Annabeth finds out that from Echidna that Athena was embarrassed because, you know, they chopped off Medusa's head when it arrived to Mount Olympus and allowed Echidna in the chimera to enter the arch. So Percy decides to be a hero and trick Grover and Annabeth into leaving him behind. And Percy tries to fight the chimera. It don't work out for him. He actually falls out of the arch and ends up in the Mississippi River, where he meets a sea nymph, or nereid, and that helps him realize that he can breathe on the water. So far so good. I mean, 4 episodes in, and you know, I haven't been like, yo, this show is slacking, and this show is not slacking. This show is awesome, and I am loving it. Both these episodes, they were solid. Like I said, my only issue with this show is they keep doing the fade to black cuts like it's airing on TV. Please stop it. Just let it run for like a whole 30 minutes like every other streaming show. But episode 3, I give that one a 9 because they killed Medusa, and Medusa was played by my wife in my head, Jessica Parker Kennedy, who played XS on The Flash, and she was also on Smallville as Plastique. But episode 4 was actually pretty good. That one is also a 9 for me. So yeah, guys, I think that's pretty much it. So that was another episode of the Angry Blerd podcast. I am your host, Bernard, just a nerd / Blerd doing this thing. This episode was brought to you by Dubby. Go to w.gg and use our promo code AngryBlerd10 at checkout to save 10% on your order. So this stuff is actually pretty good. Okay, I love it. It's like Red Bull. You don't get the jitters. It's all made from natural coffee extracts. They got a variety of flavors. Like I said, I like the Dove slime, and I'm still going through the mango cream. But I mean, yeah, go for it, guys. So yeah, be sure to rate, review, subscribe, tell a friend, and I will see y'all next week where I'll be reviewing Rebel Moon. Didn't want to review it this week because too much content. episode 5 of Percy Jackson, and that may be it, but we'll see when we get there. All right, y'all. Peace.